I wasted 10 years and hundreds of dollars on paid productivity tools. But I realized the most complete productivity system was already sitting on my devices for free. There are exactly 4 apps that killed my app fatigue and let me actually get back to work. No matter how good other productivity apps get, I always end up back with Apple's default apps. And it has nothing to do with features. Notes, reminders, calendar, and mail form a loop that quietly removes friction from my day, and once I realize that, it's hard to use anything else. The biggest downside is this system's biggest attraction, and that's they are a bunch of free apps. Because of that, you have slow updates, features are added regularly every year, but you won't find the latest and greatest AI implementation or new features coming out monthly. That is, of course, the benefit that you get in a paid system. Updates are quick, and new features are added to justify the subscription cost, which is cool if you want your productivity system to have a bunch of new stuff all the time, but overall is unproductive as you navigate Reddit or help documents to figure out how to implement these new features in a useful way. Maintaining a simple system lets you skip the fake productivity of fancy dashboards and just get to work. Like many others, I've created a tailored system for using the Apple apps that plays to their strengths, which is that low friction. Ultimately, this system could be replicated in other apps, which I have done and will continue to do as I always try to see if there's something better out there. Despite the occasional updates, roughly once per year, all of these apps are more aligned than ever to work better together, while keeping the simplicity of their original purpose. In some instances, they're behind, but in many others, you'd be hard-pressed to find that you would need more than what these 4 tools actually offer. I am not without my gripes, though, and 2 general items that I wish Apple would focus on are better shortcut support and even better linking between the apps, especially on Mac. Apple Shortcuts has been a huge help in me keeping Apple Notes and reminders linked together as long as I have, but I often run into limitations due to the structure of Apple Notes or the lack of actions inside of Shortcuts for Apple Reminders. Linking notes on reminders is one of the most powerful productivity hacks that I've implemented in the past few years. But because Apple Notes doesn't feature a URL scheme, you can't link notes to reminders directly within a shortcut. I have some haphazard workarounds. And now this has become a little bit of a tangent, but just know that there are many third-party apps that support shortcuts in a more meaningful way than Apple does for its first-party apps, and that is frustrating. I know Shortcuts has to be a very niche app, so I get it. They're focusing on general appeal first, but because of this, power users suffer. The second I've already sort of mentioned. In some ways, the ecosystem is now broken. I'd argue iPadOS is actually the best place to use most of these apps, where you can drag and drop notes into reminders to link them, then drag mail items into reminders, and so on. Some of these work on Mac, but there's some occasional behavior differences, like you still can't drag a note into a reminder on Mac. Now that I've gotten the gripes out of the way, let's take a look at how I'm using all these applications to power both my personal note-taking and run this YouTube channel side business. Starting with Apple Notes, it is my second brain, the place where any piece of information goes that I might need someday. My health info like supplementation, medication, goal setting for the year, journals, writing and video ideas, all of the information from online courses that I've taken, and even a whole host of templates that I've collected over the years made their way into Apple Notes. I've gone back to a mix of regular folders and smart folders to hold all of my information because right now there are about 100 active notes between my notes folder and my creative folder. I've been trying to keep the notes folder a little bit more organized, so once I tag something or I'm done using it, I've been placing it in the archive. I have my most used smart folders to query notes that might need to be surfaced after being archived and have started housing all of my creative work under a single creative folder. This includes writing, videos, newsletters, and yes, even the podcast that I will eventually get back to recording here someday this year. And I briefly mentioned templates, which isn't exactly a supported feature inside of Apple Notes, but because of the tagging system, it makes it easy to tag anything that is a template, use a smart folder, and then when you need those things, you can kind of duplicate the file to create your new template. I do this for new video ideas where I duplicate my video template file, add the title of the video, so I can then quickly share it to reminders to make a linked task. Apple's Assistant and Quick Notes are two of the biggest reasons why Apple Notes is the lowest friction offering for me, which is insane that I'm actually saying that Siri does anything good because generally Apple's Assistant is horrible. And I'm convinced it's gotten way worse over the years and is obviously miles behind other offerings on the market today. That said, the ability to take a note in the car when my phone is plugged into CarPlay has been one of my most used features, aside from Quick Note, in Apple Notes. Anytime I need to capture information, it's easy and I know where it's going to be when I finally get the chance to review all the stuff that I've input into Apple Notes throughout the week. Those things, plus all of the other great features that I've covered on Apple Notes, like collapsible section headers, highlighting, audio transcriptions of voice notes or audio files, rich text attachments, the checklists, scanning of documents, OCR, its end-to-end encryption, or the seamless sync across all of your devices, and everything else that's great about Apple Notes that just keeps me coming back despite the more powerful and feature-rich software that exists now. And that brings me to Apple Reminders. I somehow made it through college without a to-do list application at all, and I had no idea what productivity was or how to even think about what a system would look like to digitally organize my notes, tasks, and calendars. I guess my brain worked pretty well back then, but I also had very limited responsibilities. By the time I had worked for a few years and then gone back to grad school, I knew I needed a system to keep track of all of the classwork along with everything else in my personal life. I had been a long-time Todoist user through grad school and then eventually moved to Things 3, but grew tired of the lack of Kanban board and the way that Things handles recurring tasks, so I went back to Todoist. A few more years went by and eventually I just didn't renew my Todoist subscription and decided to give Apple Reminders a try. They had added the ability for reminders to be shown in the calendar, which is something that I had been using Fantastical for prior to that, and even before then I was using Todoist's two-way calendar sync with Google Calendar, but I really don't like the Google Calendar interface. At first, reminders seemed basic. It doesn't have fancy natural language input when entering tasks, and it takes way more clicks than necessary to fill out all the fields like date, time, reminder, list, subtasks, etc., when compared to something like Todoist. But the big breakthrough was when I figured out how to link Apple Notes to Reminders. Reminders then becomes a dashboard of sorts. I have a Kanban board view or card view or whatever they call it. You get the point. This shows me things that I have in progress, ideas, and an inbox for more general tasks and fewer hyper-specific lists. I do still use the inbox for Apple Reminders, which is another piece of my system that was trying to limit the amount of projects or lists inside of my to-do app. At the end of the day, trying to get to the big picture inside of Reminders was hard until they added sync with Apple Calendar. Then it all kind of clicked. My notes linked to Reminders, Reminders linked to Calendar, so I have the working level information in Notes, schedule everything that I need to do in Reminders, then use Calendar to slot those tasks into days or times that make sense around my schedules for work and home. It is clunkier than it needs to be since you do have to select a date for the reminders in order for them to show up on the calendar, hence the name Show Scheduled Reminders, but it works and it's free. And then that brings me to Apple Calendar. In September of 2025, my Fantastical subscription ended, and for a while I just used the app on the free plan. I realized I didn't really extensively use many of the paid features. Sure, I had calendar sets, but I basically toggled between all of my calendars and my creative set, so it ended up being kind of fine there. I only occasionally needed to use the scheduling feature that Fantastical calls openings, but Google Calendar now offers something for free, and cal.com is also a free alternative to Calendly. For the few times that I actually need to set up something like that, I'll be fine with those free solutions. The main reason I was using Fantastical in the first place was that it was easier to sync between Todoist and Calendar. I didn't really like the way that Todoist's two-way sync with Google Calendar worked, and it wasn't my favorite thing to actually have to use Google Calendar. Once Apple Reminders added the ability to show scheduled reminders on the calendar, that feature alone basically Sherlocked the entire reason I was using Fantastical in the first place. So if Notes is where I do my thinking and Reminders is how I schedule everything, then Calendar is the glue that holds everything together. I've recreated the calendar sets feature using focus modes, but I rarely find myself actually toggling it. I only have to turn off 2 or 3 calendars to get the view to be a little bit more reasonable, especially when I want to focus on my creative tasks. Now, Apple Calendar is not without its quirks. It's definitely not as user-friendly as Fantastical is, and the user interface isn't quite as good, but the functionality is pretty much the same day to day with the exception of the calendar widgets. I do wish Apple would spend a little bit more time and figure out how to make their calendar widgets more useful. That's where Fantastical still wins. Now, you could use the Fantastical widget, but the app will eventually lag and not be up to date with whatever reminders and events you have upcoming if you're not actually opening it to sync. You also can't set the Fantastical widget to open Apple Calendar when you press it, which would be cool, but then that defeats the entire purpose of having their app installed in the first place. I've never been a fan of Widgie or other third-party widget options. I always find them difficult to set up, despite the beautifully aesthetic home screens that I stumble upon while browsing social media. In the calendar, I can schedule my reminders, see events from my shared Google Calendars, and plan out all of my creative work with ease. I've even created a side-by-side desktop on my Mac Studio where I keep Apple Reminders on the left half of the screen and Apple Calendar on the right half of the screen. I find this gives me the best visual balance between my Kanban board and reminders and the month view on Calendar, especially when I'm planning out upcoming work. So I've stuck with Apple Calendar for the better part of 5-ish months and don't have any plans on going back at this point. Lastly, the Mail app. And look, I still hate email, but email can spawn to-dos or calendar events, or you might just want to take a note on a newsletter that you received. Apple Mail on the surface is a basic mail application, but has a few key features that keep me from looking for alternatives. That first is email aliases. I have 2 custom email addresses for domains that I own, including my business email for this channel. This is a free feature with your iCloud account, and is something that Google Workspace would charge $15 a month or whatever their fee is, and will only cover one of my domains. Plus, I have no other need for the other features that come along with that since I'm just a solo business and have plenty of my own storage available both offline and already in the cloud. And the second thing is that all of my accounts are in one place. I have my Gmail, my IMAP accounts, and Apple all in the same app. Plus, the benefits of all the other features that they've added, like Remind Me Later, smart mailboxes, and the ability to link email to reminders as we talked about earlier. You can just drag and drop the email into reminders, create a new reminder with the email linked rather than using the Mail's built-in remind feature if you want. And I will say though, it is harder for me to get to inbox 0 on Apple Mail. Because of that, I still use Gmail occasionally on the web. I have keyboard shortcuts set up in Gmail to make labeling, archiving, and deleting things so easy that I can get through a few hundred emails in just 10 minutes. Because of that, I started only clearing out my Gmail account once every 2 weeks. This saves me from time wasted spent organizing an account that doesn't need it, and I find I don't collect that much clutter in my email inbox, giving it an extra week instead of doing it weekly. So that's it then. You have enough free tools built in to do whatever it is you want to do. Start a business, create content, track projects, goals, milestones, or just simply organize all of the digital crap that we all now haul around. Notes for your thinking, writing, and remembering. Reminders for everything that you want to accomplish. And calendar so you know when you can work on those things. And yes, even mail so you can communicate personally or for your business. These 4 simple applications pack so many more features than most people realize that I don't think you need any paid productivity apps until you've tried all of these first. And get subscribed for more Apple productivity tips, reviews, and videos just like these. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.